Steven, I think they're ready for us. You ready?
Yep.
So what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of We Got Next. As usual, I'm one of the hosts of the show, Hayes, aka O Shifty, with the one, the only, at Steven_Springs, Mr. Steven himself. Steven, how's life been? How's everything going? What's been up in your world?
Um, my kids are finally not sick anymore, so
That's big.
that's a win.
There you go.
Penn State spring game is this weekend, and we
Hmm.
were gonna go, but the weather doesn't look great. Like if it was just us and not a 5-year-old tagging along with us, it'd be one thing. But when you got taking those X factors that are children, it makes things a little more difficult. So yeah, spring game is this weekend. I'll put out another quick glance after that, after I watch the tape and everything next week. And then Masters is this weekend. Pretty dope.
Yep.
Hyped up about that. That's dope. It's supposed to rain tomorrow down there though. So we shall see if things get going tomorrow. If not, like late in the day. But yeah, hopefully Tiger, I mean, I don't know what the expectations really are these days for old Eldrick, but I just want to make the cut and like maybe be somewhat in contention
Hmm.
come Saturday. And into Sunday obviously would be great. If he's like top 5 come Sunday, that'd be even better. But gotta have the low expectations for that one. So um other than that, like I said, my house is finally not sick anymore. So that's
That's
a big
major.
one for the boys. So now we're on to college football.
Yes, sir. So
How was New York, by the way?
so that's what we're gonna dive into. So before I give my thoughts on everything that happened in New York, I do want to give some breaking news. And Drew Holiday, actually an hour ago, agreed to a 4-year extension worth 135 million. For anyone
Oh,
that's like, how much is that? Well, that's about 33.75 million a year. Only in sports can you not even be the best player on your team and you still get paid that type of money. On top of that, they're going to run into a situation like the Los Angeles Chargers are running into. They're not going to be able to pay anyone that sees these contracts. All three of them are not going to be on this team by the end of them. One, you're paying him 135 million. You're paying Jaylen Brown the number one salary right now in the league. Jason Tatum still got to get paid too.
and
So
Porzingis is going to want money too.
Porzingis, so you can't pay all four of them. Look what the Chargers just had to do in the NFL.
Deuces Jalen Brown.
Someone's going, and that's honestly what it's going to be. Because one, Jaylen Brown's not the best player on the team. It's definitely Jason Tatum. Because only in sports can you not be perfect all around and still get top dollar money. He does not have a left hand.
He might not even be the second best player on their team
No
with what Drew Holiday can do on
defense.
defense.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying Porzingis is better, but like, you know, any given night, Porzingis can go a 30 and 20, and Jalen Brown, yeah, cannot dribble with his left hand. So yeah,
Hmm.
that's too bad though. I mean, yeah, you got paid though, so make your paper, right?
Yeah. That's exactly what I'm saying. So now I want to segue that into if we go a little bit south of Boston and go to New York. So for anyone that doesn't know, I was in New York from Thursday to Saturday. It the trip overall was motivation. A lot of people ask me, what did I get out of the trip? I met a hell of a lot of people being out there. So I got in Thursday around noon or so. Wanted to play in the basketball game that they had up there. Just didn't work out with time. So I hit up some of the homies in one of my groups that I'm in. So it's blockchain soldiers that I'm in. And I hit up one of the homies. Well, he was like, he can't come because like emergency stuff, like family stuff. I was like, all right, bet. So this other dude, Zay, ended up coming. And you could just imagine. So all I'm gonna say is in crypto, black people are not the majority. That's all I'm gonna say, which is obvious. Zay essentially is blacker than me. My man came to meet up with me with a do-rag on. I was like, bro, we cannot, we can't do this. We
Come on,
can't
man.
be the two
Hey,
in
look
there.
at.
And then what's wild is so I'm in line. Anyone that knows me, a lot of the hats I wear, and then also some of the long sleeves and sweaters say rejects on it. So I'm really cool with the Solana Monkey rejects. And I was in line, never met the founder. And the founder, whose name is Lemon Scented, Lemon was Lemon was like, yo, like nice hoodie that you have on. I'm Lemon. I was like, oh shit, like I didn't even realize that. So we
I'm
talked.
lemon.
Yeah, you're Lemon. So then we go inside. Zay and I met a bunch of different people in there, which was dope. We met some people that are worth like multi-million dollars. So it was cool to talk to them. I met one of the homies, E Money, who I talked to a lot online. If you ever see me talk about anything New England related, it's mainly with E Money, but it's wild the type of money that these people have. And the last thing I'm gonna talk about with this, and I'm gonna go to Saturday. So I was talking to E, and the next day, come to find out, he's back home already, like Sunnyside, California, and shit like that, on his
Jesus.
golf cart. I was like, bro, you were just with me the night before. And that's when you know their money is different. That if you could just hop on a plane and go back home the next day, I don't have money like that.
Nope.
So just gonna say, but then Saturday was amazing. I met some of the people from the Daily Alpha. So I talked to them. They had their live show. So I was with them in the park. After that, we ended up getting something to eat. Then I got on the train. Friday was filled with just the games. I was at this Irish pub, and I've never seen so many people so hyped for the Iowa like Connecticut game. Like you would have thought it was damn near like back in the day with like rappers when it was East versus West, like LA versus New York, because you were either Iowa or UConn. There was no, I'm just here to watch the game. It was, nah, you're choosing a side up in there. And you could tell, like, if UConn did some shit, it got hype. If Iowa did some shit, you heard like the golf claps. They try not to get like super happy. Then you had like that random person. But overall, it was good. I'm actually going to use this to segue into Iowa
Wait,
itself.
wait, bro. It was an earthquake. How are you not like? How are we not talking? How we? Like, that's the only thing I care about. Like I could give two tips less about how the rest of your weekend was, and just want to know how that earthquake was.
Listen, okay.
If you
So
want,
for
if you
start,
want to wait, if you want to wait to talk about this to the end
no,
or whatever,
this is the hottest. This is the hot take. Yes. Because if you didn't bring it up, I would have
because
forgot
let
about
me
it.
you keep talking to me and let me text you or let me find what you texted me.
So what's crazy is I was, and this is like the third earthquake I've experienced. And every single time I tell my friends, I'm always working when it happens. It's the weirdest thing because as soon as it happened, like, I texted one of my friends and I said, yo, the hotel just started moving. And then 5 minutes later, people online were like, I think we just experienced an earthquake. And mind you, so where I always say, I say Manhattan. For anyone that knows, like, I'm always down there where Greenwich is and stuff, and I'm right next to where the World Trade Center like memorials are. So with this earthquake, I was like, there's you should never have an earthquake in New York City. If there's one place you don't want to be and you can plan it for an earthquake, it's not New York City. All you have is damn skyscrapers. And I'm like Steven will tell you, I really thought like I'm just gonna die. You can't escape. I'm on the 14th floor.
No,
Like you're
this man texted me, bro. I thought I was about to die.
yes.
Like I don't know. There was nothing leading up to that text.
No.
That was Friday at 10:30 in the morning. He texted me and said, "Bro, I thought I was about to die,"
Steven,
and
like
I was like,
so
"Well, all right." And I was like, "Oh shit!" And you texted me that there was an earthquake, and that was when like everyone was finding out about it, and
yes.
told me that you were on the 14th floor and like the whole building was moving and shit like that. And yeah,
So the wild part about that, and so okay. In my apartment now, I'm on the 14th floor. But being on the 14th floor in New York is a lot
different.
different than being on the 14th floor.
It's way higher. It's way
It's
higher.
way higher because 14 floors here, you're on the 14th. In New York, you probably have storage, you probably got a parking garage, you got a bunch of shit below you, and then you forget what's underneath the ground. So you're really damn near higher up. And in this building was 30 floors. So I'm just like, no way am I going to be on the 30th floor with an earthquake. You can't, you're not jumping out the building to survive. You're not going to run down the steps because you're not going to make it. You can't even get to the 15th at that point. So there was like nothing you could end up doing. And they don't have one stairwell straight down. It's like you take the stairs to the fifth floor, then you go down another set of stairs to go to the first floor. So that was that over there. I told everyone that I'll never end up going into New York City again if I can ever plan when an earthquake comes, but that's not something you can plan. Other thing is I feel the buildings are just going to fall on top of each other. Like in New York City, whereas here, the building might fall or like crumble straight down. You're going to crumble on top of something else
Yeah,
in
it's
New
just
York
like
City.
dominoes.
That's what's going to happen. And the bigger part is everyone there was like, you should not have an earthquake in New York City. No shit. That place is
Yeah.
not built for an earthquake. But I can talk about this for hours because there's so many things with that. And then, of course, some people are saying the movie that Barack Obama was in charge of like directing, producing, and stuff. Oh, some of the scenes there start to match up with what's happening in real life. People are worried about because they were like first the boat, then like the earthquakes. Then, if anyone knows where I work at, not saying the name, but two of the people there were scared the day of the solar eclipse. They were like, I thought we were gonna die. So you thought something that happens regularly, we were gonna die. Okay. But we'll get into something that is not actually regular, and it's Iowa. Iowa no longer exists anymore because Caitlin Clark no longer is there. But the thing I wanted to bring up with Caitlin Clark is she's not even drafted yet to the Indiana Fever, but everyone expects her to be drafted. They have they're going to have 36 out of their 40 regular season games are going to be nationally televised. If that does not tell you what this woman is about to do for the entire sport, the last time I can say I've heard something similar to this happen was probably LeBron, if that. And it's on a different scale only because they really want to make sure that they can lift WNBA. Everyone, there's no one in the WNBA that is going to want to hate this because it's going to add money to their pockets. Like if you have them games nationally televised, it's going to help. And the other part with that is the price of the tickets. Like I went to see her when she played UMD, got it super early, so it was only $20. You could resell that shit for like 200. And I was telling Steven that I really contemplated about not going to the game because you could flip it. They're gonna put the Aces game against the Fever in the T-Mobile Arena, which has 8,000 more seats, just for this one human being. It's not like it's a whole team they care for. Not like they didn't just get the number one pick the year before in Aaliyah Boston, but they care about Caitlin
Who?
Clark. Exactly.
Who?
All they care about is that one person. But what are your thoughts on this since it's not necessarily college basketball?
Um, so I'm just gonna use this to segue into the game if you want to do
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yep.
Um, okay. Let's see here. So you know me as well as anybody when it comes to like my affection for women's basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have watched the last two games for Iowa, strictly Iowa though. I didn't watch a minute of the UConn USC game. Didn't give a shit. I can also tell you that, and I texted you this, I asked you this, but you were at the UFL game, which we'll get into. Um, if it was South Carolina versus UConn in the national title game, that rating that was at what 14.8 million or something
Yep.
like that
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't even be remotely close. And I'll also take a futures bet on the national title game next year, saying it won't even reach 10 million
No.
compared to this. And Don Staley, the South Carolina women's basketball head coach, one of the goats now. It's Don
Mm-hmm.
Staley, two times in as many days, said Caitlin Clark carried that sport for the last
She
two
did.
seasons.
Yeah.
Those ratings are not because of Juju Watkins, Paige Beckers, um, Angel Reese, South Carolina, Kim
Mm-hmm.
Mulkey. Nothing. None of those names. It's only because of Caitlin Clark. That is
Mm-hmm.
the only reason why anybody's watching those games.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody. Like, go look at the ratings for all the other games that do not involve Iowa. They're dog shit, probably.
Yeah.
Dog shit. And if she played for any of those other teams or like Tennessee or whatever, one of those like blue bloods, no one would care. But she plays for fucking Iowa, dude. Iowa.
Yes.
And like you
Yes.
just said, they're going to be back in the shitter next year. You won't hear
Yes.
from them for another 50 years.
Hell no.
And it's only and Don Staley knows what's up. She
Yeah.
knows it's only because of Caitlin Clark. And I don't know, and her look, and then for all the old heads, Diana Taurasi, like go pound sand. And
Yo,
the
she didn't need to do
OG,
that.
yeah, dude, and the OG who didn't acknowledge Caitlin Clark breaking her record, she's just sick
Oh
because no one's
yeah.
ever gonna remember her name ever again.
No.
She was holding on to that record until she was gonna die, and
Yep.
she might still be doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But just because Caitlin Clark, and I'll get into the I think Caitlin Clark did have to win a national title for her to be like really up there. I mean, she wasn't going to reach Brandon Stewart level or Diana Taurasi because what they did, they also played for UConn. That's a huge factor in all this. Candace Parker played for Tennessee, with Pat Summitt. Yes, all these players play for elite programs, the Blue Bloods. Um, And also, like, back to real quick, if it was UConn versus South Carolina, I wasn't gonna watch because, like, like the undefeated season in women's basketball, that doesn't impress me anymore. Like, now I did research on this. I did research on this for the women's game.
Yep.
Since 2000, there have been 6 undefeated seasons. The last one in the men's was in like the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's only like women's basketball, and you know this, has been dominated by like 5 teams for the
Yep.
last like 30 seasons. Our entire life has been dominated by UConn, Tennessee, South Carolina now.
Baylor had a stretch.
Baylor had a stretch, but like there's since 2000, there's only been 7 different teams that have won a national title. UConn has like 10 of them. So like it's not like the men's game, yes, you have Kentucky, Duke, Carolina, Kansas, like you have the blue bloods, but there's always like other teams. There's been 11 different teams that have won a national title. A couple of those teams, Duke, Carolina, UConn, they have multiple, right? Kansas has multiple, but like it's not as many of like the same teams that have a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Where in the women's game, going undefeated, yeah, you only like there's no other teams in the SEC for South Carolina to play. There's no other
No.
team. If
No.
Tennessee is down, then like that's it. Like yeah, like, you know the teams. So Iowa, like the Big Ten was good this year, but Caitlin Clark, like you know, going to her being one of the goats, like her resume speaks for itself. I have it up right here. Warriors ready for this. She's a
Yeah.
4-time AP All-American, 2-time AP Player of the Year, a Wooden Award, 2-time Naismith Award, 3-time Big Ten Player of the Year, All Big Ten, All Freshman Team, whatever. Her resume is there. She's the all-time leading scorer in men's and women's college basketball. She averaged for her career 28 points a game. She averaged 31.6 this season. I've said this so many times about sports. Like, just because she doesn't win a national title doesn't mean she gets bumped to page 2 of like the GOAT conversation. She's still going to be up there because you still have to go out and do that every single game. It does not matter where she was at. It didn't matter like the booze, whatever, the noise. She went out and balled out every single game. And people loved to hate her for whatever reason. I said a handful of weeks ago because she's white, another great white basketball player.
Mm-hmm.
In a sport that's been dominated recently
Yep.
by
Black women.
black players. So like maybe it's one of those things. I don't remember people hating Diana Taurasi, but nonetheless, I hate her now. But like she still has to go out and do it every single night. And like she might not be like the greatest of all time, but she might be the most influential women's basketball player that
Easily.
we've seen maybe ever. I know those others, like Lisa Leslie is a generational like goat. Like she's probably undefeated in that category. Like Diane Taurasi, Sue Bird, Candace Parker, Brandon Stewart, whoever you want to name that's come along. Asia Wilson recently, whoever you want to name that's come along. Brittany Griner, whoever's come along and like done that and like been there, like they were just really great players. They
Mm-hmm.
didn't carry the sport. They all played for those teams, though. They played for the elite teams. They played for the blue
That's the
blood.
thing. Yeah.
I was not a blue blood in women's basketball, nor will they ever be. They're gone. Like you said, they're done, dude. They're
Yeah.
gone. Like no
They
one's
all
gonna.
know it.
You cannot name another player on that team next year. Like no, you can't. And she carried the sport for the last 2 seasons, and all those ratings are because of Caitlin Clark.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's it. And like people can hate her for whatever reason, but like now will it translate to the WNBA? We've gone over this. Their season, there's just not a good time. Like there's not a good time to have their season. Whereas women's basketball coincides with men's college basketball, and like it's all at the same time. The WNBA, there's just like they have their season during the summer, dude. No one's watching sports during the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Like people are vacationing. Like people aren't like glued to the TV like they are in the fall or in the spring. Like it's just not like it's not happening. So there's no like she'll be a name, but like it's not going to be even remotely close to like I'm not watching her play in the WNBA. I'm just
No.
not. I just don't care enough. College is different. The passion of college basketball. Her doing what she was doing, people hating her. You love to see it. So I think like I definitely wasn't going to watch it if it wasn't Iowa. And that's like I think a lot of people would say that. And I cannot wait to see next year what the numbers are for the games. The men's game, like people say there's not a lot of stars in the men's game now. Like there's not a lot of Zach Edey's walking around the planet. Okay.
It's not.
Like I'm sorry. Like Cooper Flag, Man, again, I said this before. I hate Duke with a passion because I'm a Carolina guy, but I hope to God that he is what Caitlin Clark is. Like
Hmm.
he's just like another tall white guy going to Duke and who can
Yeah.
ball. Now he better put up numbers or else it's gonna be he still might be really good. I mean, he might put up like 18 and 8, and like that's really good. But like I want to see him put up like 25 and 12 and just like dominate the men's game and just be hated. And like the men's game needs that, I think. They need like a villain. Like
Hmm.
that's why this was so successful for her because she was a villain. Angel Reese was not a villain. As much as she wanted to play that role,
She was
no.
not.
Kim
No.
Mulkey was not a villain. Like Don Staley was not a villain. Like Paige Becker's not a villain. Like
No.
Juju Watkins. No one watched USC basketball because it was USC basketball.
Yeah.
Like Caitlin Clark played for fucking Iowa, dude. I hate Iowa.
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
hate Iowa. Being a Penn State fan, I hate Iowa. It's fucking Iowa, dude. There's nothing to
Exactly.
do in Iowa. There's nothing there.
Nope.
So like women's basketball had a villain for the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
They're toast now.
Yes.
Like those views are not going to be what they were, and it's all because of Caitlin Clark. So like I hope it translates for her to the NBA or the WNBA, and she starts killing it, and she crosses up and puts Diana Taurasi in retirement. But
Yo.
I mean, I don't know, dude. Like I'm never watching college women's basketball again, probably, unless Penn State women's basketball does well and does something. But I mean, shout out to Caitlin Clark, man, because she fucking
She
carried it.
did.
Like we have not seen. Like Zion Williamson didn't do this. Kevin Durant didn't do it. Melo didn't do it. The men's game has always been there. It's always been up there.
Yep.
So, and if they want to get more views, dude, I like either have the game on a Saturday night or do not have it start at 9:20 on a Monday.
So that's the
Like,
first
come
thing
on.
I want. That's the first thing. And I've talked to so many people, levels of appreciating the game of basketball. Why would you put a women's college basketball game on at 3? You're setting yourself up for. I honestly think their views could have been higher than what they were if you didn't put it at the heat of baseball season and then like other miscellaneous sports that are going on. But 3, but then you like to have the Yukon game at 9. Personally, I think that game was far too late. You could have done that earlier.
Have those games on a Saturday, dude. Like men's and women's. Like, don't start the men's game at 9:20 Eastern time. You're gonna
Hmm.
lose all the East Coast by like 10:30.
Hmm.
Start it at 8 or have it on Saturday night. And like have
Yeah,
those games in the same day. I think that would be fucking dope for men's
I
and
think
women's
so.
basketball. Like
Also,
have that, like
question.
have the women's game. A lot more people are gonna watch the men's game and then have it start at like 4 or 5 on a Saturday, and then have the men's game start right after that. I think that would be fucking, or have it at the same
Yeah,
place. I think that would be like, wow, there you go.
that would be
There
genius.
it is, dude.
Put
I
them in the
just,
same.
I just had to say man, shit. I need to write this down.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah,
my
like,
question.
shout to UConn though for
Shout out
very
back to
impressive.
back.
Very
So my
impressive.
question for you is, has it always been the women's game before the men's game, or was there a time where the men played and then the women played like the day after?
I always thought it was after.
I thought so. Okay.
But I think, yeah, I feel like it's usually after because, or is it?
Because I feel they didn't have a lot of time in between the women's game ending and then the WNBA draft. And
Yeah, I think that's always been a thing.
yeah,
Like, which is like it's like tomorrow.
yeah,
Like,
which is
why?
wild because I think it's Angel Reese is training with Victor Wembanyama's trainer. And the crazy part about that is you can put a trainer on the map. Like you being great can make your trainer more marketable. Even if you were good before the trainer, just because now they'll say, oh, Victor worked with him, like he's good. Now I want to segue that off because Steven brought up that I didn't really watch the game, and that's because I was at another annoying game. And I went to the Defenders. I went to the DC Defenders
Yeah.
UFL game. Number one, the UFL is not going to be around a long time. The what I saw on the field that day, and I was talking with my friend who I went with, and we were both like, they're not like there were certain plays that I know The Rock is going to do whatever he can to make sure it doesn't hit ESPN. Like there was one play that was a cartoon play, Steven, in the sense of there was a fumble. When a fumble happens, it becomes like a scrum. Everyone tries to like jump on the ball. Okay, cool. Usually when that first scrum happens, someone comes away with the ball. You see the ball squeak out of the scrum, and then it's a second one, and you hear the fans like yelling and pointing. So then all the players jump on the second scrum. it didn't end there. The
So
ball
let me
like squeaked out.
let me ask you this. Like when you're watching the game, like obviously this is no slight at ODU,
Hmm.
but like you've watched ODU football games.
Hmm.
Like you can tell a difference in the product and like what's going on in the field from
Hmm.
an ODU game live
To like the
and
Power
like
Five.
Penn State game live.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
different players, different ball game. Like it's just different. Forget like the stadium like atmosphere. The product on the field, like the talent is just
Right.
like it's just different.
Yeah.
And it's like I feel like this is like a step between like high level college football and the NFL.
Hmm.
These are like this is like that gray area of guys who are like you can't play college ball anymore because you're out of eligibility, and but you can't go to the league because like you're not quite good enough, and there's not enough roster spots for you. So
Hmm.
like the talent probably like they're still really good at football, but like I'm sure like the drop off is like a sizable gap though between if it wasn't those guys would be in the league like
Yeah.
the but what's like if the NFL is here like it's like a 10 like where's it how's like what's the gap like between the league and like these guys is it like like that big of a gap where the product is just eh like it's just like it's football and like you're gonna watch because it's football or is it like these guys suck
So remember how I told everyone that I'm on the 14th floor, right?
yeah
Okay. So the NFL is the 14th floor, the UFL is the first floor. And it's so you could tell the quarterback's vision is not the same because there was some times where you would have the slot receiver just running straight up the seam and they missed him. Like it would be late. And then it's a tip. It's a tip off the offensive player's hands, interception for the defense. Another thing is, so some people know him, but Kiki Cutie, who used to play for the Texans, he plays in the UFL. And the only reason why I know him is because they would force him the ball at Houston Texans when Houston didn't have anybody. They still do that in the UFL. If you're a former NFL player, you're throwing that ball to that one player the whole time. The offense knows it, the defense knows it, but the defense can intercept it because they know your quarterback is not good enough
so
to
is
be
it just like sloppy too
it is. So there was a play. We found out like he hurt either his collarbone or fractured his forearm, but the play that it happened on, they threw him like in the slot, like he went across the middle, got it, was off to the races. Then it became a cartoon play because then someone came from behind, grabbed his arm, the ball flies in the air, and then he falls to the ground and gets injured. So he's done for the season. But the part that blew me is the ball flew in the air. I have never seen the ball fly in the air so much that it's insane. The best player on the whole field is the kicker. Why? Because even if you're good enough, you still might even go to the NFL because there's but so many kickers that are needed.
sure yeah it's
NFL.
just yeah there's not many
But yeah, I would not. I spent $40 on that ticket. It was good because I got to see the product to understand what it is instead of me just saying like I'm not going to watch it. Like I can tell people don't go to this because it's not great. But there's going to be players and fans out there that are like, there's no NFL. I just need to watch
yeah
something,
I need yeah
and that's what it's going to be for them.
jeez
So I'm going to give 2 seconds in terms of crypto and stuff. Then I want to hit the important topic that we've hammered every single week. So for starters, we have the Bitcoin halving coming up April 20th. So we are 10 days away, which is huge because a lot of things on Bitcoin, whether it's BRC20s or it's ordinals, are shooting through the roof. I was in some different ordinals and cryptos that were at $3. Now they're sitting at $43. Shout out to Alpha Saiyan and Solana Sweeper because they've been doing these crazy amount of spaces and they have tiny Vikings. I got into one of them at 0.003. They're currently sitting at 0.02. So the amount of money you're able to make is insane. Did I make that life-changing money yet for me? No. But can I see this happening and I'll just like disappear on an island like random weeks? Yes. It's very different than last cycle when I ended up doing this on the spaces and then on the podcast because I know right now the amount of money that is able to be made in Bitcoin is insane. All I'm going to say is I have over a Bitcoin and a half worth of money in crypto. Do with that information what you will, but it's just crazy the amount of money people are able to make. And one of the dudes, Solana Sweeper, he essentially has over like $5 to $10 million off of one crypto that he has. And yeah, that's the first thing. Recommendations for people. Runestones is one, Hashlinks is another, R6 is another, and this is all because on April 20th, Casey created a new system essentially to make it in layman's terms that you're going to be able to put different runes on top of Bitcoin, and it's going to make it easier for meme coins to be on Bitcoin. So a lot of people are getting prepared for that. People are creating nodes and stuff. I do not have a node yet. I might end up doing it if I have time tonight. Probably not though. But that and then Tiny Vikings. So get focused on one of those. For people out there like, Hayes, how much does any of this shit cost that you're talking about? I don't think you want to know, but because this is what we do on the show, I have to tell you all. So a runestone, like I just mentioned, that's $6.6 thousand. There's a Bitcoin puppet, which is $28,000. Tiny Viking currently is sitting at $1.4 thousand, and one of my favorites out there is a Node Monkey is sitting at 34,000. Now the Seeker one that I do have that I think people, if you have the money to do it, should do it is an OMB. So the cheapest price for an OMB is $31,000, but what ZK is going to do for the Bitcoin halving is something that I don't think a lot of people should miss out on. But that's the main things I wanted to talk about there, as well as CPI numbers did come in better. And just pay attention as we get towards the summer and then into the fall when the election starts to come. A lot of these numbers will take off. I do expect interest rates to end up being cut because you don't want to have ugly numbers or dovish numbers going into an election year. You want it to be, if Biden wins, that numbers are through the roof in terms of the economy is booming. If it's going to be Trump, you wanted to say he's going in with like a booming economy. You don't want to say the economy shit going into the election because then the next president's just going to have to deal with that. So pay attention to that information. Now, the exciting topic that I've been waiting to talk about, and Steven and I hammer it every single week. I don't care about the East. We all know how the East is. We're talking about the West, and not the West itself. We are talking about those 4 seeds for the play-in. And Steven, every single week we talk about it, that 7 through 10, part of what I've been saying has played out. I said that the Mavericks and Suns, they both need to get out of it. The Mavericks did. They clinched. Essentially, they're going to clinch the 5th spot at the rate that they're going. They're winning against the Heat right now, so they should be able to lock in that 5th spot, which means they will end up playing the Clippers. So which should be a solid series to end up watching over there. Number 1 is the Timberwolves right now, but they have the same record as the Nuggets. I do foresee the Nuggets getting that number 1 spot. It'll be tough because how I see this all playing out is the Lakers and Warriors getting through. If the Suns can just win another damn game and then the Lakers can beat the Kings, then it'll end up playing out being like the Lakers against the Kings or the Pelicans and then the Warriors against whoever else. So that number 1 seed will play the number 8 seed. And the number 8 seed would probably be the Warriors if how this plays out happens. Number 2 would be the Nuggets against the Lakers. The Lakers would probably want the Nuggets if they could have it kind of
I don't
their
know.
way. Well, to get revenge on last year. I personally don't think that they should. The team you should want is the Timberwolves because those young teams are the ones you want to get before they hit their stride. But what are your thoughts on that 7 through 10? And do you think the Pelicans are going to keep 6 or do you think they're going to drop?
So there's 2 games left, it looks like, for Lakers have 2 games left. Man, I'm trying to find like a conspiracy type of thing looking at this, but
And they have 2 easy games.
who they play to finish?
So the Grizzlies should be a win. And then they play the Pelicans at New Orleans, which is tough because that can be for a lot of the seeding.
They play you said they play the Grizzlies and the Pelicans.
Yeah.
Is it home and away?
Away.
Away. Okay. Lakers are 17-21 on the road, so and we'll see what AD's eye is looking like. Look, whatever happens to the Lakers, I blame Darvin Ham.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure how he's still coaching. I'm not sure how he's like just the lineups, man. I went back and watched what everyone was talking about last night. Into the 3rd, into the 4th, Lakers had a chance. They got it within 6. And like LeBron was not on the court, and neither was Steph. And then Lakers went on a run, or the Warriors went on a run earlier, and it was like an 11-0 run. Lakers did not call timeout, no adjustments, no subs, nothing. Lakers went on like a 6-0 run shortly after that. Warriors call timeout. Steve Kerr does what he does, gets Steph back in the game, and the game was over after that. So Darvin Ham is an idiot. I think the team knows it. They've done it for a while. I think once the playoffs start, like the Lakers are locked in the play-in tournament.
Yeah.
So It doesn't like Kings, like the only half game behind the Kings. I don't want to see the Lakers play the Suns. I think the Suns can beat the Lakers.
Hmm.
But I think if you're asking me, I think the Lakers are out of those four teams, a team that can get to the conference finals. Um, I think once the playoffs start, like they're gonna say, screw you, Darvinham. We're just gonna go hoop
Yep.
and do what we should have been doing all season when you should have been coaching us just to go hoop. So I think Pelicans are probably gonna drop. I mean, what if like the other teams drop like their final games, their final 2 or 3 games? Kings lose out, the Suns lose out, and the Pelicans lose out. I think the Pelicans would still stay there because no, they have 3 games left. Looks like, um, so they could like easily drop those 3 games, and the Lakers could squeeze into the 6th seed. That'd be kind of funny.
Wow.
They would play the Thunder in the first round, but um, I think the Lakers probably end up with the 8th seed, and they end up playing the Suns. Although the Suns only one game back of the man. The West is really good. The Kings
It's
only,
close.
yeah, the Suns are only 1 game back of the Pelicans. Um, man, that's crazy. And then you go to the fucking East, dude. The
Yo.
Bucks are 14 games behind
The
the.
gap between the 1 and 11.
That is unbelievable. That is unbelievable. Um like the Sixers. I mean, they just once Embiid was hurt. I mean, there's the whole season just fell apart.
Yeah.
They are 45 and 33. They have the 7th seed. They are 17 and a half games behind Boston. And like, yeah, Boston is really good, but I do not trust them in any capacity to win the title.
Mm-mm.
I think they have a. I think it's gonna come down to them in the Bucks in the conference finals. I would trust the Celtics probably to win that one, but they're not being. None of those teams in the East are beating anyone out of the West.
Mm-mm.
I don't care if it's the Thunder, the Timberwolves, the Lakers. I don't care. Warriors, no chance. Um, I would only trust the Celtics because they have Drew Holiday, and as you're going to see when they play the Bucks, he's a much better defender than Damian Lillard is, and also the Bucks need to make sure that Giannis is 110% healthy
Yeah.
because this little exact same thing happened to KD when he tore his Achilles. He had a
Mm-hmm.
grade 1 calf strain. He came back, it seemed like he rushed it, and then boom, Achilles is done.
Mm-hmm.
So he got lucky with that one because anyone who saw Giannis' injury last night, that first step, it like looked like what happens when you tear your Achilles.
Yep.
So the East is just dog shit. But shout out to the Pistons though. Pistons are
Shout out.
49 games back behind the Celtics.
That's terrible.
Yo, that is so bad.
That is 49.
Man,
And they're not
49.
done. So they can go
No.
50 games.
But if Pistons have more losses than the Celtics have wins, which I think is even more impressive.
That's
Um,
insane.
but yeah, back to your original question. I think the Lakers end up with the 8th seed. I think the Kings drop a few, and the Lakers finish 2-0 and get to the 8th seed, and they play the Pelicans who are going to be the 7th seed, and Lakers get the 7th seed, and Lakers end up playing probably I'm gonna say the T Wolves in the first round, Lakers in 5. Lakers win it all again. Lakers in 5 over the Celtics, and they get number 17 to tie the Celtics. It's all right there, dude. It's all right there. It's all laid out perfectly.
So my first takeaway is all you need to do to determine the East is the Magic or the number 4 seed. I don't need to say anything else. The Magic are number 4. And the one
The Magic
team,
out of the 4 seed, and they have the Lakers. They have the same record as the Suns, who are the 7th seed in the West. So that tells
yes,
you again. That tells you everything you need to know.
yes, yeah. Now the Suns, they're gonna have to make some decisions because you can't get a big 3 and then be in a playing game. Like I don't know. You clearly money isn't the way for all of this because if you look at the top 3 seeds, they drafted most of those players.
Bro, what did they think was going to happen when they brought Bradley Beal in? I mean, honestly, what no one was scared about that. No one was like, "Oh, okay, here we go. We like
We,
this.
we
This
got
is
this
that
one.
team." No, dude, Bradley Beal was hurt all last season.
Hmm.
It's like, no, dude, he's like 32. He's not 23 coming off an injury.
Yeah.
It's just a name, and it happens every year, but you gotta blow it up. Devin Booker, corny as shit, you know?
Yeah. So also, if you kind of, that's bad. Two things that are bad. The Wizards, I don't think will ever have a good team. I was even talking to my brothers. Even when they had Gilbert, they were just a little above 500. It wasn't like they were a lot of games above 500. And yeah, we have the Pistons, but that's kind of the main thing there. The final part I wanted to bring up because next week we only have 2 weeks before the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Running back wise with the draft, is there anyone that stands out to you that you would say people need to pay attention to?
No.
That's that's what they were saying. This isn't the running back draft class. The other question I have for you is, and we'll go back to this next week, how many quarterbacks do you think are drafted in the first round?
Um, Probably four. Caleb Williams, Jane Daniels, Michael Penix Jr., and Drake May. Not in that order, but a lot of people are saying that Michael Penix Jr. is not going to go first round, which I think he
Hmm.
should. I think he's not good, but a lot of people are saying like, oh, he's 45 and two ACL injuries, and he's in college for like 7 years. So he's like,
Yeah.
I think he's like 24. Like, who
Yeah.
cares, dude? Who gives a shit? If he can
Nope.
sling it and he's accurate, and you get like a 4 year window with him on like a good team, that mean, like that's all it takes.
That's
That's all
yeah.
it takes, dude. Oh, dude. I feel like people. It's all about winning, dude. If you can get this guy for 4 years and he like pulls a Russell Wilson and
Hmm.
takes your team to the Super Bowl like 3 years in, 4 years in, cool, man. That's it. Like we're
Yeah.
not. Teams aren't asking. Fan bases aren't asking for 3, 4 championships in a row. Like not all of
They
us
just
can
want
be
to be
Alabama,
relevant.
bro. I would take like as a Penn State fan, I would take one like one
Hmm.
one winning season, a national title, it's fine. One Super Bowl, fine. If you're like the fucking Chargers or whatever, and you get a quarterback, this one Super Bowl to do, that's it. That's all you need.
Yeah.
Well, I would say what that was that five, four,
Hmm.
five.
Yeah.
Caleb
That's
Williams, Drake May, Jane Daniels, Michael Penix Jr. What was the other one? That it?
yeah. You only named four.
Yeah, did I say 4 or 5?
You said 4 or 5.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So because the other ones that are on the question mark would have been, you don't believe it, JJ McCarthy, but some people believe that. The other one is Bo Nix. People kind of throw out there.
I mean, you know, he was a product of the system in Oregon. That system is like kind of catered for you to be super accurate with the type of scheme they have, the type of system that they
Hmm.
run with the short passes and like the deep balls are usually wide open. So, like, is it a fluke? No, you still got to go throw the ball and like throw it accurately. Yeah, of course. So, Bo Nix is another old guy. He doesn't have a lot of injuries like Michael Penix Jr., but still an older guy. Do you want to put that much faith in a 35-year-old rookie quarterback?
Yeah.
Shout out.
Yeah. Shout out. So, final thing before we go into what you got, Rashid Rice. I don't really know what to say or do with this situation because now they're saying he faces up to 8 charges in relation to the high speed chase. Some include aggravated assault, and then he clearly walked off the scene with
Yeah.
everything. And 1 count of collision involving serious bodily injuries, and 6 count of collision involving injury. 23. Now, whoever is his lawyer, and if they find a way to finesse this shit, first off, if I'm one of the people that got injured, I am milking the hell out of this.
Mm-hmm. Of
I
course,
am
dude.
going to sue every single human being possible, get as much money as possible. And then if you give me the money, I'll be quiet. But if you don't give me the money I want, I'm talking all the time.
Bro, you'll never see someone who has worse whiplash than that.
No,
Like my
nope,
neck's
no.
gonna be hurting for years, bro. Years,
I know.
decades, if not longer.
Every time. If I can't drink or do anything for a year to prove it, I
Bro,
will.
I'm walking with the limp. No
Hell yeah,
questions asked,
all the
dude. No
time.
questions
I'm
asked.
getting millions out of this. The
Uh-huh.
Chiefs,
Uh-huh.
you're gonna find a way to get me money too, because
Mm-hmm.
technically that's your employer. And
I'll
then
take I'll take a couple million hush money too, for sure.
exactly, you do that. Oh, that's easy. Because the other part was the John Morant situation. They were saying someone got hush money if it went from going to him like hitting someone under the age to now it's like they're dropping the case. Someone got paid off like handsomely, a good amount. So, but what she got for everyone?
Shit, nothing, man. Like, I was back in state college over the weekend, last weekend, my grandma's funeral and everything.
Mm,
If I had one more person ask me how I'm doing, I was gonna lose my mind. Like,
hmm.
I know it's a question of the day, and everyone wants to ask how I'm doing. Like, how the fuck do you think I'm doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I don't want to be here. Like, you don't want
Yeah,
to be here. Like, we're all like, I get it, but you're like, how you holding up?
yeah,
Frank, how the fuck do you think I'm holding up, dude? Not very good, dude. Not very
yeah,
good. That's my grandma right over there. Like, how do you think
yeah.
I'm so if I got to hang out with the fam, drank a lot, tell good stories, we laughed, we cried, did all that kind of good stuff. So as much as the weekend sucked going up there for that, it was good to be around. Like that was the first time my entire family was together for like 3 or 4 years. So everyone knows how that goes, with the whole fam being around. So good times, for what it was. But yeah, man, shout out to the fam.
Shout out. So that's what I don't know why it happens in terms of me and Steven's life that certain things happen around the same time. But in terms of funerals, it sucks that those are the main times when everyone will get together. You'll see people you haven't seen in
Bro,
years.
someone else texted me about that today because that's how I was doing. And someone texted me about that. I'm like, bro, it's been a fucking couple days. Like,
Yes.
chill out.
Yeah.
But they were like, yeah, it sucks that like it takes that to bring a whole family together. I'm like, yeah, it
Hmm.
does, but like
Yeah.
that's how it goes.
Yeah. So the thing I wanted to just do for mine is honestly, thank you to everyone that one has helped me learn in terms of the crypto space because I will look sometimes at different trades I've made. And I was talking to when I was in New York, I said it's wild because there's levels to everything. There was a point in time where I was always trying to learn so much information from people. You will be surprised now when I go on spaces. The first thing they will say to me is, "Hey, what do you know? Or what's the alpha? Or what can you tell us to help us out?" So it's wild that I'm over here getting so much information and then people now are getting it from me. I went to one party, like this Clanosaurus party, and they were like, no, Hayes is like OG. And I'm just like, damn,
You're turning into like me when it comes to people asking me for sports info.
yes,
Like breaking news, Hayes, what do you got for us?
yes, yeah.
Yeah,
So I'll
gotta have
just
them.
jump on. I was with somebody a couple of days ago, and I said, just a heads up, I have an AirPod in because they're probably gonna call my name in 2 seconds. As soon as like I jump into space, they're like, Hayes, we want to know what's up. And it's crazy because there were times in the beginning when we were like talking to Nutella Lick and all these different people, and it was just like we were just regular people. Now it's like, yo, what does Hayes know? Because he's been around since like XYZ years. So I appreciate everyone, but we don't have to do the lemon pepper different conversations
Chill
anymore.
out, bro. Chill out. We're good. Yeah, we're good. We're making
until,
waves.
until next week, we out.
Deuces.